Hi guys, welcome back with you. For some people, it is quite hard to make a decision when you're offered a lot of exams, such as MET, TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, and so on. That's why today I will explain you the main differences, similarities, and features of two of them, MET and TOEFL, so that you can compare them and make the best decision. So let's get started. The main similarity that both exams have, MET and TOEFL, is that they evaluate four different skills. It means reading, listening, writing, and speaking. However, over here we have the main difference too, because the MET has a shorter version. It has a test that just evaluates two skills, listening and reading. But today our focus will be to compare the differences of the four skill MET exam and the TOEFL test. Being that said, let's start with the first part, that is the content. Both exams evaluate four skills: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So far, it's the same, but here comes the first difference. In MET exam, in the reading section, you will have 20 questions about grammar. That's why there you need to start evaluating your skills. Are you good at grammar? So you can go for MET. But if you're not that good at grammar, probably it could be better to go for TOEFL, which will not have grammar questions in its reading section. For TOEFL, reading is just reading, no more. So there in the content, we have the first difference. Now let's continue with the second thing to consider, and is the type of exams. What kind of exams may I have with MET and with TOEFL? Well, both of them manage similar type of exams. Both of them have the computer home exam. I mean, you stay at home and you do your test. You need a laptop or desktop in order to do it. Or you can go to the test center and take the exam over there. So both exams have the same possibilities. However, in the MET exam, in some countries, you have the possibility to take a paper-based test. However, it's quite old and is not frequent to have it in some places. That's why we need to ask for information depending on the location where you are. Therefore, basically, we can say that in the type of exam, they are kind of the same. The next category to take into account is the cost. How much is the exam? Well, for the MET, we have that it costs 150 to 160, depending on the country, but that's the value it has around. However, for TOEFL, it costs 200 to 250. Again, it depends on the country where you are located. So, taking into account the price, in this case, MET is cheaper, evidently, than TOEFL. So, now let's go to the next category. And it is about the scores. MET evaluates A1, A2, B1, B2, and C1. That's the maximum it has. It doesn't give you a score if you need to have a C2 level. The top of MET is C1. Now, if we're going to take into account the scores TOEFL has, it has A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. Being, of course, the maximum. It has all levels. So if you're aiming at getting something like C2, evidently the only option is TOEFL. You cannot go for MET. Probably if you're going for a B2 or C1, any of them could be okay. You just need to compare the other things I will continue saying in the next part of this video. And talking about the scores, it's super important to consider the time. How long will MET take in order to give me my score? Well, for the MET, we have that they take up to 5 business days in order to give you the results. However, in the case of the TOEFL, they take from 6 to 10 business days in order to give you a response. If we compare them, that's not too big the difference one another, but probably for some people it's important to have the scores quickly. If that's the case, probably it's better to go for MET. If you have no troubles about time, any of them could be okay. Now let's talk about the acceptance. And in this one, you need honestly to go and look for the place you want to apply for, because TOEFL is worldwide accepted while MET is less known. So for that reason, it's important for you to know whether your institution, university, job accepts MET or they just don't know about it and they prefer to go for TOEFL. In this case, probably TOEFL is the winner, is more worldwide recognized than MET. Let's talk about the type of questions. And the type of questions we have, that listening is probably the closest part that they have, because both exams manage multiple choice questions. It means that you will have always the possibility to choose between A, B, C, or D options in order to give a response. Also, it has the similarity that both of them have audios regarding conversations or lectures. So you will be listening both type of audios, conversations and lectures. However, the main difference is that while you listen to the MET audios, you will be able to read the questions and options. But in the TOEFL, while you're listening, you cannot see either the questions nor the options. You need to wait till the audio is over in order to start answering. That's the main difference. If you may want to practice some listening exercise, remember I have just some posted videos in which you can do a listening practice. The next ability to be considered is reading. And in reading, as I mentioned before, it's important to consider that MET has reading and grammar. So it is needed that you have some knowledge regarding grammar in order to be able to answer that part. Nevertheless, in the reading part of TOEFL, you won't have any grammar question. And that's something super important. I remember the case of a student. She was getting lower scores in her MET exam, especially in the reading part. She didn't know what was going there around, and she came to a meeting with me. We started evaluating her results. We made a test, and we found out that she was doing bad at reading score, but her score was going down because of her grammar knowledge. So honestly, it's not that she didn't know about reading. She didn't know about grammar. Grammar was the trouble. That was the struggle she had. So in that moment, we decided to take a different test, not MET one more time. We decided to go for TOEFL, and in that moment, she was able to get her B2 certificate. That's why it's important for you to consider always getting some advice from someone with expertise about exams, someone who might know more than you about exams. Sometimes, as students, don't know what is going wrong. Sometimes we just look at the score and say, well, listening was low, I need to practice much more, or speaking was not enough, I need to practice much more speaking. But having the reference of the feedback from someone with experience can help you to know what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and what is behind that number that the exam gives you, or the reasons why you're having a lower score. Of course, having that possibility to meet with someone would give you more knowledge and will permit you to make better decisions. So if you feel it's difficult to make a decision, you feel it is not that easy to know which exam is the best for you, just click on the link below, get a meeting with us, and we will be able to help you and make the best decision so that you don't waste money, you don't waste time, probably taking an exam that is not the one that fits you. Apart from this big difference of the grammar part that is included in the reading, TOEFL and MET have a similarity in some type of questions and in the fact that both of them use multiple choice. Again, A, B, C, and D in their options. So they're similar in that way. The writing part is another important skill. And here we have a big difference to take into account. The big difference is about a listening part. Yes, TOEFL has listening in the writing part. There is a task in which you need to make a report based on what you read and listen. While the MET, you only need to write, no more, just that. So that is a big difference to take into account. Next skill to be evaluated, and it is speaking. There is also a big difference to take into account. The difference is that in the TOEFL exam, you need to do an oral report in some of the questions. So it means that you need to listen and later speak. So if you're good at listening, you don't need to worry about it. However, if you're not that good at listening, probably MET could be a better option because in the MET, you only speak. You don't need to depend on your listening. Final concept to take into account, and those are extra features MET has and TOEFL has. The features are the following. In the MET exam, you have the option to retake one of the skills. You might retake the skill that you fail. For example, if you fail just in reading, you can retake only reading, pay for only reading, and that's it. If you might fail in speaking, you just need to pay to retake speaking, one skill, and no more. So it's a great advantage when you just fail one skill. But in TOEFL, we don't have the chance to do it. Nevertheless, in TOEFL, we have another feature that is also an advantage, and it is my best scores. My best score is a TOEFL history report. You can take 4, 5, 6 different exams, and TOEFL will take your best scores in each skill and will give you one report from your best scores in each skill. So this is another advantage of having TOEFL. Which one is better? Depends on what you need. If you need to have a balance of all your history exams, or if you may just need to retake just one skill. Two different characteristics, two different exams. In order to evaluate which exam is easier, you need to consider different things, such as kind of exam you will take. I mean the place, either at home or at a test center. Second, you need to take into account the time it gives you the report or the results. Third, you need to take into account the price, knowing the differences. Fourth, acceptance. You know, TOEFL is more widely known. Next one, the kind of score you need. I mean, do you need a B2, a C1, or a C2? You need to compare according to your needs. Also, you need to take into account the type of questions. What type of questions are easier for you? The ones that may have some listening, the ones that have grammar. So you need to take into account all of these characteristics. Finally, is it more important for you to retake one skill or to have a history of reports? Take into account all of these I have explained you and make the decision that matches more your demand. I know this info helps a lot, but I want to know what option could be better for you. So just comment TOEFL or MET. Let us know what you choose.